Welcome to the Seth Thibodeaux Show with Nicholls head baseball coach Seth Thibodeaux. Presented by State Farm Insurance. Contact your local State Farm agent today and get to a better state with State Farm Insurance.
Welcome to the Seth Thibodeaux Show, presented by State Farm Insurance. I'm your host, Mike Wagenheim. Coming up, we'll bring you highlights from the past week's worth of games. Later on, we'll take you around Nicholls athletics on the Colonel Connection. Right now, we're joined by the head coach of the Nicholls baseball team, Seth Thibodeaux. I know it's a tough week for you guys, but the way the Southern Conference is shaping up this year, even though you're only 7-8 in league right now, you're just a game behind third, 2 games out of second place, still right in the thick of things.
Yes, we do. We have everything we want to accomplish right ahead of us, and that's exciting for us, and it continues, it gives us a shot to reach our goals. You know, the ball didn't bounce our way. We didn't get baseball fortune, so to speak, this past week, but, well, it's some really good baseball games that were played, and our guys grinded hard, and we did get some success on Sunday, which I was excited about.
Now, throughout this season, you've had success on Friday. Sunday has been the issue. This weekend, it was the reverse. What are your thoughts on that?
The flip-flop. You know, we had our chances on Friday night. We're up 5-1 on the road. We need to finish there, which is something we haven't done a very good job of. And you got to feel pretty good about it with Seth Webster on the mound, but you got to credit UTA. They were hot. They'd come in and won 6 in a row, if I'm not mistaken, or 5 in a row, if I'm not mistaken, and they played really well. They swung the bats at some crucial times and got some big hits from one of the best hitters in our league.
Seems like every weekend you're always drawing one of the hotter teams in the league.
I know. It's time for the Colonels to be that hot team, that's for sure.
Well, you had won 4 out of 5 going into this set against UTA. Take a look at this action from Clay Gould Ballpark. Nicholls entering this set against UT-Arlington with a 5-1 mark in series openers. This would be likely the final series for the Colonels at Clay Gould, as the Mavericks are set to leave the Southland after this year. Now, Nicholls has struggled there, winning just 4 games since 2003, but both teams, as Coach Tibb mentioned, entered this series hot. The Colonels had won 4 of 5, UTA winners of 5 in a row. The Colonels would draw righty senior Colin Reynolds in the opener on Thursday. Nicholls wasted no time touching him up. Mike Barba and Phillip Lyons opened the game with hits before Jeremy Hill cranked one over the wall there in right. Hill's second long ball of the season. It's 3-0 Nicholls before an out is even registered in this contest. Now, Nicholls senior Seth Webster leading the nation in fewest walks per 9 innings. He gets the ball on Thursday. He had gone the distance in each of his previous 3 starts. But Southland RBI leader Preston Beck drives in Ryan Walker after a leadoff hit in the first. Beck is poised for a big weekend. It's 3-1 Colonels after this run comes home. Now, Reynolds had allowed only 2 home runs all year, but on Thursday, he would give up 2 in the first 2 innings. This time, it's Colonel shortstop Austin Flores. His first home run in 2 years in a Nicholls uniform, 4-1 in favor of the red and gray midway through the second as Flores chugs home. We take it to the top of the 3rd inning, and Nicholls starts adding on. A Michael LaGrange 2-out double sets up Blake Bajeron, who rips one past third. Bajeron's 22nd RBI of the year, 5-1 Colonels. But UTA took one of Nicholls' biggest weapons away the entire weekend. The Colonels were 4th in the nation in stolen bases coming into the series. Greg McCall guns down Matt Richard in the 4th. Nicholls was held without a steal all weekend long. The Mavericks would mount a comeback, bottom 5, 2 on for Jordan Vaughn. He pokes a single through the left side. Brett Bollinger and Phillip Cavilla score. UTA plated 3 runs in the inning. The Nicholls lead is down to 1. Now, Reynolds done after Mike Barba doubles with 2 outs in the 7th. It's Michael Oberto working to Phillip Lyons. He lines it up the middle, chasing in Barba. Lyons was 3 for 4 on the night. Nicholls with a 6-4 lead at the stretch. Vaughn, though, delivers a 2-out hit in the home half of the frame, bringing up Beck, and he would lower the boom, crushing one over the shrubs in right. His 7th jack of the year ties the game at 6. Webster, not his usual self, he would finish the inning but allowed 5 earned runs on 10 hits. Nicholls couldn't muster anything offensively in the 8th and 9th. Beck has a chance again in the 9th. 2 on with 1 out, and Brad DeLotte comes on and gets a double play ball, and we are headed to extra innings. Nice job by DeLotte. To the top of the 11th we go, 2 on, 1 out. Cody Dufresne up at the plate, and he would give this Michael Morales offering a ride deep to left field, very deep. And it's off the top of the fence. And Blake Bajeron, who was on second, moves up just 1 base. The Colonels were still in good shape at this point, but Morales fans David Zorn before striking out Barba on the breaking ball. The Mavs escape the inning. The Colonels, unfortunately, would not. A hit batter, walk, and sac bunt brings up Ryan Walker. He pokes it to left center. Ball game over. 7-6 the final in 11 innings. UTA takes the opening game despite 15 Colonel hits. Coach, this ball game was there for the taking.
It was there for the taking, and we certainly let it slip away. And, you know, it's not something that sits well with me because it's something we talked about all year long. But to have the bases loaded there and not get it done, that's very frustrating. And to have a 5-1 lead on the road, we've got to finish. It's a tough place to play, but that doesn't matter to us. We got to win the baseball game in that situation, and we will the next time we're in that situation.
You start taking Seth Webster for granted after a while. He's just so good, can go the distance every time around. Every once in a while, you realize he's human.
He is a human being every once in a while, but he still gives us a chance to win or a chance to be in a good situation. And he competed and he battled, and they had a good approach against him, and I tip my hat to them. But, you know, he can't do what everyone wants him to do every weekend. He is a human being, that's for sure.
It comes out every now and again. You start, and he had a walk, which is rare for him.
Right.
Just
third walk of the season.
Third walk, unbelievable. So. Game 2 of the set on Friday. Lance Day getting loose for Texas-Arlington. He tossed a 10-inning 3-hitter against the Colonels last season. Came into this one leading the league in wins and innings pitched. He goes toe-to-toe with Patrick Shreve, fresh off a complete game win over Corpus Christi 6 days earlier. This was a solid matchup. Shreve getting it done early. He fans a pair in the second, including Brandon Lawrence to retire the side. Patrick finished with 8 Ks, his second most on the year. UT Arlington gets to him in the third. A pair of singles precedes this 2-out 2-bagger by Jordan Vaughn off the wall. It bounces to Mike Barba in center. Walker follows Bollinger home, and it's 2-0 in favor of the Mavericks. Now Day, he would get some help from his defense. Top of the fourth, Michael LaGrange fouls one off into the corner, and Preston Beck chases it down, making the sliding grab. Nicholls was limited to 4 hits in the first 7 innings. Day lasted 7 1/3, but Nicholls puts 2 on in the 8th, and Phillip Lyons slices an Adam Westbrook offering to left, chasing in Matt Richard. The deficit is cut in half. Lyons went 6 for 13 on the weekend. He was just solid in all 3 games. The next batter after Phillip is Jeremy Hill with Barba on third. Hill, he gets his job done, lofts one to center. The sacrifice fly would tie the ball game up at 2, and yet again, we got a good contest here between the Colonels and Mavs, this time on Friday. Unfortunately, wouldn't last long. Beck had been hitless until this. A 1-out solo blast in the bottom of the 8th gives the lead right back to UTA. Second big bolt of the series for Beck. His 8th of the season ties him for the Southland lead. That would be the end of the line for Shreve. Lawrence added an RBI single later in the frame to make it 4-2. Nicholls draws a walk with 2 out in the 9th, but Morales seals the deal again, this time getting Richard on strikes. The Colonels fall 4-2 as UTA clinches the series victory. Coach, it seemed like you expended so much energy getting back into that ball game, and the moment you do, it's just taken away again.
Yeah, you're right. We put ourselves in a tough situation there, and we didn't finish the game like I'd like to. But you know what? We're down after 2 tough games. We're down 0-2. We need to find out what we're made of. We have a little character check and a little gut check. So let's see what happens on Sunday. I'm excited. I know what my team has. I'm excited about the outcome, but I'm looking forward to going through the highlights here.
I know you had a long talk with your team after Friday night's ball game, instilling in them that we're going to determine over the next 24 hours really what type of team we are.
We'll find out what you are. When you lose tough games like that in close games, you find out what you're made of. You find out who shows up there, and we certainly did. And I was proud of the way we responded.
I won't make you wait any longer here. The Colonels hadn't been swept all year. The burden falls on lefty Mike Wisecarver. Though he pitched well early in the season, Wisecarver was winless entering Saturday's game. The offense would support him, though, in the first. Back-to-back singles by Barba and Lyons are followed by Jeremy Hill's base hit. Barba scores. UTA starter Casey Merck's day would be very short. After an error loads the bases, Merck just misses to Michael LaGrange. That walk forces in Lyons. A ground ball double play brought home Hill. 3-0 Nicholls right out of the gate. The Colonels were not done with Merck. In the second, Lyons tags a base hit the other way. Cody Dufran comes home. 4-0 Colonels, looking real good early here for Nicholls. The next man up is Hill and Jeremy. Boy, ever since he recovered from that injury, he's been hitting the ball again. He rips one to right, plating David Zorn. Hill on a season-long 7-game hit streak, and that would do it for Merck. He lasted just an inning and a third. Zach Thompson takes over here, and he would get a very rude greeting. Blake Bajeron, the first one to face Thompson here, and Bajeron clubs this pitch to left. Lyons chugs in 6-0 Colonels midway through the second. Now Wisecarver, it's his turn to get to work again. A 1-2-3 second as it gets Bollinger here looking for strike number 3. Wisecarver fanned 4 Mavericks on the day. We take it to the home half of the third. Runners at the corners, and Bergeron comes up with a big play here. He snags a line drive off the bat of Vaughn and doubles up Greg McCall at third. The Colonels really played solid defense in this series. Bergeron getting it done with his glove and then with his bat. Top of the fourth, he drives this offering over the left field fence. That's Blake's 4th home run in the last 6 games. Nicholls up by 7. Wisecarver allows 2 unearned runs in the 6th before Bo Falk comes to the plate here, and he would line one past Chase Weaver, the pitcher, in the 7th. That plates LaGrange, who had just doubled. It's 8-2 Colonels. Now the Mavericks weren't going to go away quietly. They were looking for a late rally. McCall here facing Jordan McCoy, and he would come up with a double down the right field line. This would score Jake Pinchback and Brett Bollinger. The lead is now 8-4, and that was McCall's 2nd double of the game. He came in with no doubles on the year. Donnie White on to close it out in the 9th. Colonel still up comfortable, a relative term though. UTA gets 2 men on, but Donnie able to get Pinchback here to fly out to end the ball game. Nicholls salvages a weekend with a win in the finale, 8-4 the final. Wisecarver goes 6 2/3 for his first win of the year. The Colonels win a series finale in conference play for the first time this season. Coach, that could have been a miserable 8-hour bus ride home. It's a little bit more joyful after this one.
Absolutely. I could tell in BP and when we were doing some things before the game and pregame that I knew we were going to win the baseball game just by the way the guys were handling themselves and preparing for the game. They were real loose and they were determined to get a victory. And I had challenged them all week about getting it done on Sunday. We have to win on day 3 to compete for a championship, and we certainly did that, and I was proud of that very much.
Come away with at least 1 win in that UT-Arlington series, so you're sitting right now 7-8 in conference. Look, you can always be better, but after a tough couple weeks and you've been battling some injuries and other things going on, you're still sitting okay right now, just 2 games out of second place.
Not where we want to be, but we're certainly within shooting distance of where we need to be, and we can go ahead, we can take care of some business here in the next couple of weeks. So we certainly need to do that. We need to be mature, we need to play hard, we need to take care of our business, and we need to pitch it and play defense, and we'll have a chance to be successful.
Seems so simple, doesn't it?
That's right.
The Colonels face Tulane at Turchin Stadium in New Orleans on Tuesday. The Green Wave have the best hitting ball club in Conference USA this season. The Colonels challenged Tulane last year, and it wasn't until very late that Nicholls was put to bed in that one. The Colonels sent Mike Sook to the mound 1 week ago. He tossed a 2-hit, 10-strikeout, complete game shutout against Jackson State. Tulane would counter with Alex Massey, a talented hurler who was making his first appearance since March the 18th as he recovered from an arm injury. Top of the first, Jeremy Hill on third with 2 outs. Massey's pitch bounces up on the artificial turf. Hill hesitated just a little bit, and it cost him. He's out at the plate. Now, Sook would get through the first, but then he allows a leadoff single in the second before Frank Florio drives one over the fence in right. Florio's 3rd long ball of the year, 2-0 in favor of the Wave. The Colonels mustered a couple of extra base hits against Massey, but couldn't drive anybody in. He gets Michael LaGrange to end the 4th. That was Massey's final frame. He allowed 3 hits, and he fanned 4 Colonels. Though Sook struck out the side in the 5th, he yielded this 2-out RBI double to Jeremy Schaefer. Brandon Boudreaux scores, and the Colonels trail by 3. Now, this game was still very much within reach until Boudreaux comes up in the 6th, and again with 2 outs, he tags a double down the line and left. That would score Brennan Middleton and Troy McCartney. Sook allowed 8 hits and 5 runs in 5 2/3 innings. The Colonels trying to come back, and they would strike late. Tyler Mapes allows a pair of base runners in the 8th before giving way to Alex Facundus. Hill delivers the RBI hit. This plates Mike Barba, and that would break up this shutout. Hill's 23rd run batted in. At this point, it's a 5-1 contest. The next batter is Blake Bergeron, and he gets the ball into the outfield. The sac fly to right scores Phillip Lyons, and the deficit is down to 3. Nice job by Corey DeLang out of the Colonel pen to hold down the fort, but Nicholls would get no closer. DJ Ponder comes on in the 9th. He sets the side down in order, 5-2, the final score on Tuesday night in New Orleans. Coach, Tulane's just got a good ball club this year.
Very solid club. You know, they had some big 2-out hits. We weren't able to get that clutch 2-out pitch a couple of times, and their big boys really made us pay for it. And you know, we had some opportunities to get some big hits and maybe take the lead early in the game or tie the game up, and we didn't get it done. And certainly it's something of a little bit of concern with what we're doing with runners in scoring position against a good arm. They threw two weekend arms at us that had been injured, and then brought them back, and they were throwing pretty well last night. It's two guys we would see on the weekend in our league, and we had some really good at bats. We didn't have the clutch at bat with runners in score position. That's something obviously we need to work on to get better at.
Walked out of there with a strange feeling on Tuesday. It was the first midweek loss for the Colonels all year.
It wasn't a feeling that we were used to this year, that's for sure. And I would certainly want to get back on that winning side of things for a midweek game.
The Colonels will host Alcorn State coming up on Tuesday. Later on the Seth Thibodeaux Show, presented by State Farm Insurance, we'll introduce you to the Colonels' new volleyball coach. On deck, though, we'll preview this weekend's series at Central Arkansas. Stay with us. We're back in 60 seconds.
There goes Dwayne's car. There goes Dwayne's house. And there goes Dwayne.
Man, that thing does not like Dwayne.
State Farm's got you covered.
In Thibodeaux, call Jude Guidry. And in Homa, call Darryl Brew.
Get to a better state.
Want to welcome you back to the Seth Thibodeaux Show, presented by State Farm Insurance. I'm your host, Mike Wagenheim. We're joined here each and every week by the head coach of the Nicholls State baseball team, Seth Thibodeaux. You head into this weekend's set at Central Arkansas. This will be the final 3 games of a 7-game road trip, and really a tough stretch for you here. You got the Bears coming up this weekend. What are your thoughts heading in?
I know that they can pitch it really well, but I feel like we need to control we can control the games by doing what we do. We need to take care of our business on Friday night, and we need to learn to finish games and finish a weekend. And we have a lot of things that we can accomplish this weekend, and we're scared to play on the road. We're excited about playing on the road. It's spring break for us. We're excited about getting on a bus and traveling, but because we know that if we're going to win a championship, it's going to be on the road. So we have to learn how to play well at someone else's place. And I just want to see our pitching staff pitch well, because I know they're going to pitch well. And I'd like to see our hitters get the big hit. Not so much how many hits we're getting. Let's get the big hit with runners in scoring position. That's a goal of ours for the weekend.
Stolen bases, you're 4th in the nation going into last weekend. The running game has kind of disappeared a little bit. Do you try to jumpstart it again, or do you maybe try some other things?
No, we'll get back on it. We're going to steal some more bags. It's something that we've played a couple of teams here, Arlington and Tulane, who have really good catchers, and they do a phenomenal job of controlling the running game. Their pitching staffs are 1-1s, 1-2s to the plate, and their catchers have really good arms. And I can tell by playing, the last 2 weeks or so, that teams are really conscious about the running game, and so things are sped up a little bit. So we have to learn to capitalize in different ways, not just with the running game. But you'll see it come back. But what we need to do is we need to make sure we're doing other things to get the running game back.
Jeremy Hill, since returning from that groin injury, has made all the difference in the world. He's now up to 23 RBIs on the season. Just a potent weapon in the middle of that order there.
He is. He's starting to really feel good again, and he's healthy, and I'd like to see him continue to do what he's doing, and let's make sure we get some guys on in front of him so he can drive some runs in. But it is good to have him back and driving the baseball. His swing looks really good. He feels really good at the plate, and it has a lot to do with his health. But number two, I've seen him doing a lot of extra work in the cages with Coach Prothrow. So it's really good to have him swinging the bat this time.
Tell you something that's been overlooked this year so far, the Colonel bullpen.
Absolutely.
Donnie White, Brad DeLotte, those guys have done a phenomenal job.
Constantly doing the job. It's been good, and it's been good on the midweek. And we've actually been in a situation where there's some younger arms that haven't really pitched much this year that are really talented, but we haven't had an opportunity to get them there because of the job that Brad DeLotte, like you said, and Jordan McCoy, Donnie White, those guys continue to pitch really well for us, and it's exciting, and it's some good quality arms and guys that are able to throw the big breaking ball at the right time or get that big double play ball at the right time, just as you saw Brad do on Thursday night. So those guys continue to compete. They're pitching with a personality and some big heart, and they're pitching well.
We're looking forward to this 3-game set coming up at Central Arkansas this weekend. Coming up next, we'll get you caught up on Nicholls athletics on the Colonel Connection and talk more baseball with Coach Tibb. You're tuned in to the Seth Thibodeaux Show, presented by State Farm Insurance. We'll return in just a moment.
There goes Dwayne's car. There goes Dwayne's house. And there goes Dwayne.
Man, that thing does not like Dwayne.
State Farm's got you covered.
In Lockport, call James Matassa. And in Homa, call Renee Carricker.
Get to a better state.
Nicholls Volleyball brings in a new head coach and philosophy, while a Colonel golfer continues to stand tall through adversity. That's all coming up on this week's Colonel Connection.
Former Louisiana Monroe assistant Patrick Hiltz takes over the reins as the leader of the volleyball program and brings in a wealth of coaching experience to his new squad. Hiltz plans on moving Colonel volleyball forward through recruiting aggressive players.
The word scrappy comes to mind, and just you see these players out there that they don't care where the ball is at any given time, they're after it, and that's my kind of player. I need the right players that are going to play together as a group and as a family and get along and have that chemistry, because if you have that, you're very tough to beat.
The defensive-minded head coach aims to give the Colonels a unique perspective on how they approach volleyball.
The United States is very left side dominant. European volleyball is very right side dominant, and I think if we can take the benefit out of both of those systems and find a way to put them into a system, then you've got something that maybe nobody else has. If you just focus on one thing, left side, then you're going to get beat on the other side. If you just focus on the right side, you'll get beat on the left side. So there's got to be a balance, and I don't think that that balance is really addressed as well in a lot of programs.
Colonel golfer Werlien Prosperie's career took a turn for the worse when his father lost his life in a motorcycle accident last October. The tragedy shook his desire to golf like nothing before.
It was hard to get back started again, I guess. I know I have been pretty good at facing adversity in life, and pretty much feel I could overcome anything, but that's something you can never prepare for. So it kind of just crippled me at the essence of who I was. But now that I'm playing again, I think I'm motivated just as much, ready to play good and get better.
But Prosperie has bounced back and competed last week as an amateur in the Fauquier Open at the Ellendale Country Club in his hometown of Houma, just outside of Thibodeaux. This prestigious event is on the Adams Pro Tour, which is a part of the PGA's developmental circuit. Although he performed admirably, Prosperie missed the cut at the end of the second round. But his ambition to become a pro and help the Colonels inspired him to get back on the green as he lays out his plans to reach his ultimate goal.
For me, though, I think that what I plan to do is I plan on the Monday qualify consistently, because either if you play on the Nationwide or you play on the PGA, the guys are still shooting the same scores. You still got to play well and shoot well to get to the PGA Tour. So I think the easiest way is the Monday qualify and play well in PGA events than to start out in Nationwide, play well, and then get on the PGA Tour.
Following a 10th place finish at the Wallace Jones Invitational in Monroe this past weekend, Prosperie and the Colonels cap off their spring campaign at the Southland Conference Championship in McKinney, Texas from April 23rd through the 25th. For the Seth Thibodeaux Show, I'm Phillip Boudreaux.
Thank you very much, Phillip. You're watching here the Seth Thibodeaux Show presented by State Farm Insurance. Coach, going into this weekend here, you face UCA and then finally back home again. It seems like it's been forever. Alcorn State on Tuesday and the Lamar the following weekend. We got a big military appreciation night coming up on the 22nd of April. That's the Sunday game against the Cardinals. 1 o'clock first pitch. Big night for the program.
It is. It absolutely is. I know they're selling shirts and promoting it really well. We're going to auction off our jerseys during the game in a silent auction, our camo jerseys. And I think it's important for our players to experience something like this, and I'd really like to see a nice crowd and an overflow crowd, and I'd like to see some former military and current military guys in attendance and being a part of a special day.
That'll be at 1 p.m. coming up on Sunday, April the 22nd, as the Colonels play host to the Lamar Cardinals. Reminder, tickets available for all remaining Colonel home baseball games. Give us a ring at 985-448-4790. That's 985-448-4790. You can also log on to our official website, ticket website at Ticketmaster.com for more information, including schedules, player bios, anything you need to follow the Colonels throughout this season. Check out the Nicholls official athletics website, GoColonels.com. That's GEAUX, GoColonels.com. All the information you need, box scores, recaps, statistics are there right there, so you can follow Nicholls throughout the season. Coach, you got Central Arkansas Friday at 6, Saturday at 2, Sunday at 1. We want to wish you the best of luck, and we're going to talk to you again next week, all right?
Hey, let's hope for an exciting weekend for Colonel baseball.
Right in the thick of the Southland Conference race right now.
Thanks,
Stay in
Mike.
there. For the entire crew, including Ashley Bull, Phillip Boudreaux, and head coach Seth Thibodeaux, I'm Mike Wagenheim. We want to thank you for joining us this afternoon. A reminder, we'll be back with you again next Thursday and every Thursday throughout this season at 3:30 in the afternoon right here on Cox Sports Television. We say good day for now. You've been watching the Seth Thibodeaux Show presented by State Farm Insurance.
The Seth Thibodeaux Show has been brought to you by State Farm Insurance. Contact your local State Farm agent today and get to a better state with State Farm Insurance. This has been a presentation of the Colonel Sports Network.